What is up, guys? How's everyone doing? I am like so video shy about this because, like, honestly, I spent 2 hours yesterday. I hate that it's mirrored. Filming a video and it never uploaded, and it drives me nuts. And this drives me nuts that it's mirrored too. Yeah. How's everyone doing? All right, let's do this. Okay. So today on my TikTok live, I basically went over, well, not my TikTok live, my short today, which I am about to post. But basically, Starbucks is laying off 1,100 corporate employees, and it's scary because this is off the tail end of 3,600 employees getting termed from Meta for poor performance. Who knows? And Tesla did this a couple of months ago, and then now we've got the federal employees being laid off. It's just, we're going into dark time, and that freaks me out. Right now, we've got Trump going live with Macron. You guys, this whole thing. So we've got the new German chancellor basically telling other European countries that, we've got to, we need to start organizing. We need to start working within ourselves and not depend on the United States, given the fact that Trump, JD Vance, Musk have all gone and done some sort of promotion and speaking on the behalf or for the far right extremist neo-Nazi group in Germany. Trump is out here basically putting out tweets that he's the one who, thanks to his administration and himself, that Germany has gotten as far as they have, and that they got, a really conservative government in Germany, which is not the case, actually. They're pretty Democrat. So I don't know what this guy is up to. He's just such a Hi, Donna. How are you, friend? You are literally the first person on my live. I don't know why it's not doing that. Let's share. Let's see if this works.
And you're talking about Ukraine as part of that whole situation. The other side has a lot of support also. So let's see how it all works out. It might work out. Look, you can never make up lives.
You are special, my friend.
You can make up the money, but you can't make up the lives.
How are you?
A lot of lives lost. I think probably a lot more lives than people are talking about.
Happy weekend, you guys.
It's been a rough war, but I think we're close to getting it solved. Go ahead.
Do you think that Doge could benefit from more streamlined communications? There was that
You
email
working?
Telling employees to
You were at my
things they've done last week.
Better.
Has then told people to ignore it.
You're talking about the last email that was
Yeah.
sent?
Sunday felt
Where
like Monday.
you wanted to know what you did this week. You know
I'm
what
ready
I
for a
wanted that,
weekend.
by the way. I thought it was great. because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody
Right.
even knows
It's
that they
just
work
too
for the
much.
government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. That's how badly.
So what he's saying is, yeah, so the reason why people are not responding to Musk's like threatening emails about sending, their summary of the work that they could that they did is because it was sent from like some HR like email or whatever, and they're working with top secret information. What you want, the at like FBI, like you want Kash Patel and all these people in the military basically sending you updates via like open like internet. He's ridiculous, this guy. Too much.
So there's been a disconnect in communications.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all about that?
No. That was done in a friendly manner. Only things such as perhaps Marco at State Department where they have very confidential things, or the FBI where they're working on confidential things. And they don't mean that in any way combatively with Elon. They're just saying there are some people that you don't want to really have them tell you what they're working on last week. But other than that, I think everyone thought it was a pretty ingenious idea. We have to find out where these people are. Who are they?
Everything is.
And we said if you don't respond, we assume you're not around.
That stands.
And you're not getting paid anymore, too. So, we're doing a real job. And we just had a poll come out, I guess the Harvard poll, saying that it's massively popular what we're doing.
Oh my God.
Mr. President, do you still believe in NATO?
All the polls
in the alliance between
show that
Europe and America in NATO?
he is polling the
Are you
worst
going to
poll
send it in
that
June?
Very much
that
involved.
anyone has ever polled.
When I first got elected at the very beginning, first term, I got hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO. The NATO had no money.
Does it sound okay and look
I said,
okay,
look, if you
Donna?
don't pay, and we're not going to be a part of NATO, we're not going to protect, we're not going to do what we're supposed to do. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars into NATO. No, NATO is a good thing if it's done properly and if it's used properly.
Are you kidding me?
Mr. President, in these days you speak a lot.
Can you hear me okay?
Tariff in Canada, in Mexico, and in Europe. I want to know what is your idea about Italy, if you want to make this.
Okay. Oh.
What? Can you talk up a little bit?
In these days.
No, louder. Can you talk a little louder? You have a beautiful voice, but you're not.
In these days you speak.
Where are you from?
Italy.
From Italy. Oh, I love Italy. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
I
He's
want to
crazy.
I want to know if you have the same idea with Italy about tariffs.
Well, look, I love Italy, and Italy is a very important nation. We have a wonderful woman as your leader, and she was on the conversation today, one that we had, the G7.
I know, right?
And no, I think Italy is doing very well. I think Italy's got very strong leadership with Georgia.
Yeah, because they have a fascist.
Any other questions over
Mr.
here?
President,
Yes, ma'am.
can you clarify what you meant in your truth today on the major economic development transactions between the U.S. and Russia? Any more
With
detail?
respect to what, Russia?
In solving a peace deal, you said there will be major economic development transactions which will take place between the United States and Russia.
Yeah, we're trying to do some economic development deals. They have a lot of things that we want, and we'll see. I mean, I don't know if that will come to fruition, but we'd love to be able to do that if we could. They have massive rare earth. It's it's actually the largest in terms of land. It's by far the largest country. And they have very valuable things that we could use, and we have things that they could use, and it would be very good if we could do that. I think it would be a very good thing for world peace and lasting peace.
Because
Well,
he's so
our first,
concerned
by
about
far, our first
peace.
thing that we want to do, the first element of the overall transaction is ending the war. But if, just as we're doing with Ukraine, if we could do some
He had
economic
the
development
audacity
in
to
terms of
call Zelensky
Russia, getting things that
a
we want,
dictator.
something like that would be possible, yes.
Meanwhile, he's
President,
ridiculous.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you explain the rationale and have a US vote against the UN resolutions that Ukraine proposed and also the US proposed?
I would rather not explain it now, but it's sort of self-evident, I think.
Mr. President, first vote about increasing the tariffs on products from the European Union. Is that still something you want to do today?
Well, it's not increasing, it's reciprocal. So whatever they charge us, we're charging them. So it's not a question of increasing. If they charge us 20%, we charge them 20%. If they charge us 30 or 40%, then we do that too. So that would be on European Union, but that really would be with respect to everybody. It's reciprocity. So reciprocal, whatever they charge us, we charge them.
So that's a
Nobody
big
has
word,
problem.
Donnie.
Even you, as the you don't have a problem.
Mr. President, are you thinking of going to Moscow soon, maybe in May for the 9th of May for the
I
anniversary?
mean, not soon, but I would be
He has not
certainly,
done
if this all gets
anything.
settled out, which I think
He's
it will,
got one
sure, I would go.
bill.
On the 9th of
And
May?
you come here too.
On the
And
9th
the
of May
rest,
for the,
he's
on the
been,
restaurant?
I don't know.
Golfing.
I think that's pretty,
he's
that's
spent
pretty soon. But no, at the appropriate time, I would go to Moscow.
When do you think the wall would end?
I think the war
50
could end sooner.
days out of the 30 days
Within
Yeah.
weeks.
playing golf.
Yeah.
At what
There's
price
an
point?
actual
Do you think so?
Trump
I'd like to
golf
ask that.
tracker.
I think we could end it within weeks. If we're
And
smart.
people,
If we're not smart.
every time he
we'll
goes
keep going
golfing,
and we'll keep
several millions
Losing,
of dollars. Because then
young,
he has all his security
beautiful people.
staying at
that
his
shouldn't be dying.
resorts, and then he's making money
We don't
on
want that. And remember what I said.
charging
This
the
could
government,
escalate into a
us,
third
like,
world war.
our taxpayer money also
We
goes
don't want that
towards,
either.
Mr. President, your envoy
All that.
Steve suggested
It's
a temporary
ridiculous.
ceasefire in the conflict, but the Russian government has denied that out of hand. Do you worry that they're not dealing in good faith?
No, I think they, at some point will agree to that. I think they probably wanted to. And I think once you have a ceasefire, it's gonna end because they're not going from a ceasefire back to war. I think people have had their full. I'm just glad I was able to help because there was no communication with Russia until I came along. Biden didn't communicate. He couldn't communicate with his own child. So Biden didn't communicate. He couldn't, it was terrible. He hadn't spoken to Putin in 3 years. You're trying to end the war. People are being killed. Every week, thousands of people are being killed. Soldiers, in this case, mostly. Also towns, as missiles go in and back and forth. No, it's a shame. This should have never happened. This is a very sad, this is going to go down in the history books. This is a very sad moment because that should have been stopped. That should have never started. And if it did start, it should have stopped the first week, not 3 years later. Okay?
Monsieur Macron,
Je vais répondre, Monsieur Hollande, mais juste, je pense que plusieurs questions de votre collègue qui ont été posées en français et qui rejoignent les questions posées par les collègues américains. D'abord, cette discussion est utile et construire la paix est une nécessité. La deuxième chose, c'est qu'il y a aujourd'hui une capacité de dissuasion qui est restaurée et que c'est ce que veut dire le président Trump quand il dit qu'il n'y aura plus de
you're
problème.
gonna have a
Je pense
translator?
que la force du réengagement
I know,
américain aujourd'hui,
well, I mean, he's
c'est en
an
quelque sorte une incertitude
asshole.
aussi pour le
But at
président.
least he's better than
Donc il y a une
Trump.
capacité de dissuasion qui est là, qui permet de sceller d'abord sans doute une trêve, la capacité à vérifier que cette trêve est respectée, et ensuite un accord de paix
Did you
qui
know
permettra de
that
reconstruire
he married
l'Ukraine et de lui apporter aussi
his
les garanties de
teacher?
sécurité. Dans le cadre de ces garanties de
he's
sécurité,
like
nous pensons que nous avons notre rôle à jouer. Et donc,
a lot
on
older?
verra à ce moment-là de la discussion, je ne veux pas la préempter, ce qui est nécessaire pour que l'Ukraine
That's in
soit
the
un pays
front too.
souverain. Et d'ailleurs, dans les discussions entre l'Ukraine et les États-Unis d'Amérique, il y a cette question d'une souveraineté ukrainienne qui est respectée. Et donc, nous, ce que nous avons préparé, en particulier avec nos partenaires britanniques, dans le cadre d'un travail très étroit qu'on a mené ces dernières semaines, et partagé avec tous les pays européens et alliés qui sont prêts à s'y joindre, c'est l'idée de dire on est prêt à apporter ces garanties de sécurité. Les conditions, elles doivent en être définies. Elles doivent être définies par l'accord. Ça peut aller jusqu'à l'envoi, comme l'a dit le président, de troupes qui iront observer que la paix est bien respectée, qui iront se positionner, pas sur la ligne de front,
Like she's
pas
a lot older.
justement en quelque sorte être dans le conflit, mais marquer une présence comme une garantie. Il y a d'autres moyens de soutenir qui peuvent être des soutiens accrus et capacitaires à l'armée, des structures nouvelles. Et je pense aussi que l'accord qui est discuté, le président l'a dit, la crédibilité américaine qui est mise dans ce moment, c'est aussi montrer que chacun est dans son rôle, mais que nous avons une unité, européen et américain, donc avec
They
une
met when he
sorte de
was
garantie que les
17
Américains prennent par la discussion sur les minerais critiques.
and she was 39.
By the way, that is the most,
Je pense que
that is the most beautiful language. I have no idea what he's saying, but that is the
tu veux
most
translate.
elegant, beautiful language. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, he was her student
Was asked by several.
and a classmate of
Make sure we are
her daughter.
building peace. We have
Can you speak up,
deterrence
please?
we have deterrence capabilities that have been
That he married.
restored. As President Trump
I
said, there
just saw
won't be any
something
more
like that.
problems. We've seen the U.S. re-engagement and the message that that sends to Mr. Putin. We have deterrence, which will allow a truce to take place, verification of that truce, and then a peace agreement can be put in place so that we can start rebuilding Ukraine with security guarantees. And we have a role to play in that. Again, I'm not preempting any discussions, but we've spoken about Ukraine's sovereignty, and that has been a subject of discussion between the U.S. and Ukraine. We have also been working closely with our British partners this week. We've shared this information with other European countries, and we are ready and willing to provide those security guarantees, which could perhaps include troops, but they would be there to maintain peace. They would not be along the front lines. They would not be part of any conflict. They would be there to ensure that the peace is respected. Our assistance may include other capacity building, perhaps for the military. We see U.S. credibility here. We each have our roles to play, but it will be done in a united fashion.
Mr. President, do you think that Ukraine should give up a part of its territory?
Well, we're gonna see, it's a negotiation that's just starting, and, they've been fighting, and there's been a lot of land that's been taken, so we'll have to see how that works out as part of the negotiation. I will say there was great unity in that room today, via Skype or whatever, but it was great, tremendous unity today in that room with the other countries.
Ukraine wants their territories back. Can they take it back? What they lost in the past years?
That's not an easy thing to do, is it, right?
God, this
It's not
camera is
easy.
just like,
Asking whether or not you can take back the land that they lost. And I say that, yeah, perhaps some of it, yeah, I hope so. But that's not an easy thing to do.
But not everything.
On the first
It's gonna be something we're talking about.
Will you convince Vladimir Putin to accept the European troops as peacekeeper? What do you think?
Yeah, he will accept that.
He will accept
I've
it.
asked him that question.
You talk to him?
I've asked him that question.
He
Is
said
France
yes?
going to lift the block on the
Because he's
Korean
not, look, if we do this deal, he's not looking for war, he doesn't mind, but I've specifically asked him that question. He has no problem with it.
Is France going to lift the block on the 300 billion in frozen Russian assets in Belgium? France has imposed unfreezing it to pay Ukraine and compensate the U.S. for its support. Is France going to lift its opposition to that?
This is, we speak about frozen assets. We already used them to back precisely the loans negotiated at the G7. And it's part of the sanctions, so it will depend on the follow-up of the discussions. But clearly, we respect international law. It's just frozen assets now. You can take the proceeds of the frozen assets, but you cannot take the assets themselves because it's not respecting international law, and we want to respect international
How
law.
is one different than the other? If you can take the proceeds from it, how can you not? take
Because it's
them?
very different. You keep the assets, you take the proceeds because they are paralyzed in a certain way. You take the proceeds during the wartime, but you keep the assets, and it's part of the negotiation at the end of the war. Because, this war costed all of us a lot of money. And this is the responsibility of Russia, because the aggressor is Russia.
Should the
So-
US be compensated?
So at the end of the day, this frozen asset should be part of the
so
negotiation.
Macron's saying
All in all.
outright that Russia has been the
Is
aggressor.
US being compensated?
I support the idea to have Ukraine first being compensated because they are the ones who have lose a lot of their fellow citizens and being destroyed by this attack. Second, all of those who paid for could be compensated, but not by Ukraine, by Russia, because they were the one to aggress.
Mhm.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60%
It's like,
of the total default,
dude,
and it was
You're
like-
wrong. Did you see that? He's like, excuse me, no, you're wrong. That is hilarious. He like put his hand on his arms like, no.
the US loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear. we have 230
Look at
billion
Trump's
foreign
face.
assets in Europe, Russian assets, but this is not as a collateral of a loan because this is not our belonging. So they are frozen. If at the end of the day, in
He
the
is trying to
negotiation with
lie.
Russia, they're ready to give it to us, super. It will be loan at the end of the day, and Russia would have paid for that.
If you
This is my
believe
wish.
that, it's okay with me.
Mr.
If
President.
they get their money back, we don't, and now we do. But, you know, that's
We
only
will fight
fair.
cost.
Mr. President, do you need projects
Yes,
to the
gotta-
ones that pays everybody back? Are they aggressive?
Well, we're negotiating everything, and everything's on the table, and we'll see if we can get some land back, and we'll see about a lot of different things. And we're gonna be making a little speech and, say a few words in a little while. We're gonna have another meeting, a luncheon meeting, and we'll see you in about 2 hours. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad. Here we go. Here we go.
The
A
G7.
lot and aggressive.
And President Macron is a very special man in my book. We were together, we did it together, and I think a lot of progress has been made. We've had some very good talks with Russia. We've had some very good talks with
Russia.
others, and we're trying to get the war ended with Russia and Ukraine, and I think we've come a long way in a short period of weeks. And the president's been very helpful also. And we're also talking about trade, various trade deals that we will be doing with France. And we'll be discussing a little bit further. Then we'll have a press conference later on. You can ask some questions. We'll be having a press conference in a little while. We're going to have lunch with the entire French staff, and we look forward to it. And again, the relationship's been very special with France and very special with this gentleman
Video
on my
is
right.
literally making.
And we look forward to
Me
keeping that
nauseous.
going for a long period of time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
So
President.
weird.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. I want to thank Mr. President for his
With
hospitality.
Macron.
We had a good discussion this morning for the G7 here.
What,
And
with Macron
for the third-
like talking here?
Yeah, of this
Yeah,
war
just to keep the peace.
in Ukraine, and I think
But they virtually.
our common
like,
objective
agree
clearly
with
is to build
everything
peace
that
and a solid
Trump says,
and
but not to
long-standing
say that,
peace.
you know, Macron is
And
great
this is
guy
what we will
either.
discuss obviously
He's
because
very
I have great respect for
anti-worker, but he's
bravery
far
and
more
the resistance of
aggressive,
Ukrainian
I guess
people.
you could say, than
And we do share
Wow.
the objective of peace, but we are very aware of the necessity to have guarantees and solid peace in order to stabilize the situation. I'm here as a friend because through centuries we've been friends, and we are personal friends, as you mentioned it, because we work very well together. And I think the US and France always stands on the same side, the right side, I would say, of history.
really.
And this is exactly what's at stake today. And this
Yeah.
is a very important moment for Europe as well. And I'm here as well after discussions with all my colleagues to say that Europe is willing to step up, to be a stronger partner, to do more in defense and security for its continent, and as well to be a reliable partner and to be engaged on trade, economy, investment in a lot of topics. So I'm very excited by the discussion we will have, and obviously we will follow up. And I want
They're
to thank
trying to
you
step
again,
it up
Mr. President, for your
because
presence for Notre-Dame de Paris. It meant a lot
Trump is
for
also
French
trying to
people.
get, he's going to
and,
get them out
I want
of
to thank you for
NATO. They're,
It's the cathedral, and they've done a fantastic job.
they're
The
also
president's
doing
done a great
like
job in
private
bringing
like
it back. That was a
conversations
terrible thing, like,
about
what, 5
the
years
war
ago?
between Ukraine
Watching that burn was a
and
very
Russia,
horrible,
us between
horrible
Donald
sight.
Trump
And you've done a
and
fantastic job in
without,
bringing
like,
it
no
back, so I
Zelensky.
congratulate you.
And
Thank you for being here.
like I said,
Thank
the
you.
German chancellor,
Anybody,
he was just like,
want to ask a question
you know,
or
he
two?
needs to-
Before this question.
essentially, you know, take the power back,
It looks like we're getting very close.
count
The deal's being worked
on
on, and we're
the U.S.
getting
because
very
they're on
close
some
to getting an
bullshit
agreement
right now.
where we get our money back over a period of time. But it also gives us something where I think it's
He's
very
talking about this
beneficial to
money
their
back.
economy, to them as a country. But, you know, we're in for $350 billion. How we
I
got
think what
there,
he's
I don't
doing-
know.
He keeps talking
That's
about
a lot
money
of
back,
money.
and I think what he's doing is that he's trying to set it up so that when he goes in, because he's interested in the minerals that are in the Ukraine. And so I think that if he sets it up this way, then he can say, well, we're going to go in and take A, B, and C, take all these minerals or what have you, so that he can, because they owe us money. And Macron was trying to, like, I don't know if this is like a rebroadcast of this, but, and that's when, like, and Macron's mentioned it too, like, wait a second, you're getting that wrong. Like, they don't know, like, he was trying to correct the record. I don't know if this is a rebroadcast, because I thought they were leaving.
That who shut down?
That the U.S. has agreed to shut it down at the request of Turkey and Russia. Is that all true?
Marco, do you have anything to say?
So that's a no, that's a no.
Mr. President,
Is it a no? You said?
It's a no, sir.
It's not a correct story.
Mr. President, how do you react to people in Europe who say that you are abandoning Ukraine and that you are going to sacrifice the security of Ukraine by making a deal with Vladimir Putin?
Now, we're helping Ukraine like nobody's ever helped Ukraine before. And I can say this, if I didn't become president, Ukraine would right
That
now
line.
still
Like, everything is like we've never done before. Like, I've never done before. Like, we've never done before. Like, that's his line, man. We've never done before.
be at a level where there would be no even thinking about a peace. And it was, it's a sad thing that this happened. This would have never happened, this war, if I were president. Zero chance.
Well, then end
It
it.
has happened. So
He said he was going to end it, what, the
My-
first week?
function is to get you out of the. We're trying to get the war ended with Russia and Ukraine, and I think we've come a long way in a short period of weeks. And the president's been very helpful also. And we're also talking about trade, various trade deals that we will be doing with
What's going on
France.
with
And we'll be discussing a little bit further. Then we'll have a press conference later on. You can ask some questions. We'll be having a press conference in a little while. We're going to have lunch with the entire French staff, and
Yeah,
we look
we
forward
talked
to it.
about that.
And again, the relationship's been very special with France and very special with this gentleman on my right. And we look forward to keeping that going for a long period of time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. I want to thank Mr. President for his hospitality. We had a good discussion this morning for the G7 here.
Yeah.
And for the third year of this war in Ukraine. And I think our common objective clearly is to build peace and a solid and long-standing peace. And this is what we will discuss, obviously, because I have great respect for bravery and the resistance of Ukrainian people. And we do share the objective of peace, but we are very aware of the necessity to have guarantees and solid peace in order to stabilize the situation. I'm here as a friend because through centuries we've been friends, and
Yeah, we've
we
already
are
done
personal
this.
friends, as you
So
mentioned,
this
because
must
we
be
work
like
very
a
well together.
podcast.
And I think the US and France always stands on the same side, the right side, I would say, of history.
Mhm.
And this is exactly what is at stake today. And this is a very important moment for Europe as well. And I'm here as well after discussions with all my colleagues to say that Europe is willing to step up, to be a stronger partner, to do more in defense and security for the continent, and as well to be a reliable partner and to be engaged on trade, economy, investment in a lot of topics. So I'm very excited by the discussion we will have, and obviously we will follow up. And I want to thank you again, Mr. President, for your presence for Notre-Dame de Paris. It meant a lot for French people, and I want to thank you for that.
That's the cathedral, and they've done a fantastic job. The president's done a great job in bringing it back. That was a terrible thing, like, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Watching that burn was a very
That's
horrible sight, and you've done a fantastic job in bringing it back. So I congratulate you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Thank you
President.
very
okay.
much. Anybody want to ask a question or two, or is that a foolish question?
The Ukrainians on the critical minerals deal.
It looks like we're getting very close. The deal's being worked on, and we're, I think, getting very close to getting an agreement where we get our money back over a period of time. But it also gives us something where I think it's very beneficial to their economy, to them as a country. But, we're in for $350 billion. How we got there, I don't know. but that's a lot of money, a lot of money invested, and we had nothing to show for it. And it was the Biden administration's fault. The Europeans are in for about $100 billion, and they do it in the form of a loan. And the Europeans have been great on this issue. They understood it wasn't fair, and we were able to work something out. But with the Ukrainians, I think I can say that we're very close. Scott's around here someplace, and I think we can say that we're very, hi, Scott. I think we're very close.
is
Do you
he
have
talking
something
about
to say about that, Scott?
We are very close.
The arms
1 yard line.
All right.
that he provided them, is that what he's discussing? Because
What?
how many arms did we give to Israel?
Security guarantee for Ukraine.
Well, it'll be, Europe is going to make sure that nothing happens. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. I think once we settle.
Yeah, probably.
There's going to be no more war in Ukraine, and you're not going to have it. It's not going to be a very big problem.
Okay, can you
It's going
end
to be the least of it.
like the ceasefire? Like there's no ceasefire really going on in Palestine.
That who shut down?
That the US has agreed to shut it down at the request of Turkey and Russia. Is that all?
Marco, do you have anything to say about it? Please.
Sure, that's a no. That's a no, sir.
Mr. President.
Is it a no? You said-
It's a no, sir.
It's not a correct story.
Mr. President, how do you react to people in Europe who say that you are abandoning Ukraine and that you are going to sacrifice the security of Ukraine by making a deal with Vladimir Putin?
You know, we're helping Ukraine like nobody's ever helped Ukraine before. And I can say this, if I didn't become president, Ukraine would right now still be at a level where there would be no even thinking about a peace.
Okay.
And it was
I think we've already heard this. I think what they did, I think the video and the sound was so bad that they got it from another angle. But all right. I just came on here to see what was going on. I am going to continue doing like the videos and stuff like that and then posting them there and then schedule my next live. So thank you very much for stopping by. And everyone here, the replay crew, make sure that you subscribe, you leave a comment, tell me what you think about Trump's and Macron's meeting today. And yeah.